You're hearing from a lot of people grappling with what they're supposed to do at Christmas time around, seeing their family. And there's a few scenarios I'd like to ask you about. The first specific scenario is we're hearing from a lot of people who are in one household and they are hoping to isolate for 10 days with another household of 4 who will also isolate, whether those two households can join for the holiday. And the other common situation we're hearing about is grandparents who have been caring for their grandchild through the pandemic, whether they can spend Christmas with that grandchild and what in essence would be the extended family of, a household of 3, 4, or 5 in that situation. If you could speak to both those scenarios for me, please.
I've been inundated with hundreds of what about my specific situation. And what I tell people is, look at the intent of this. The intent of this is to reduce those transmissions that we can have when we get together, when we have social interactions. So the bottom line is we want to, as much as possible, stick with our household. If your household regularly includes your grandparents as part of caring for children, then you can make that decision about that risk to you, to your grandparents in particular. But what we don't want is large numbers of people coming together. So if it's you and your sisters and your brothers and their family and their kids, that should not be happening this year. That is what is risky. That's when we bring our risk with us and we share it in those close contact situations within our homes, when we're eating, when we're being with people that we love. So we need to show our love for each other by staying small and staying with our close family unit only.
I think these are good questions, Richard, because, and certainly there are a number of the hundreds of questions that we get every day about these scenarios. But I think what I want to say, in addition to what Dr. Henry has said, is that when you're in doubt, rule it out right now. And it reflects on the questions that we've heard so far and the results today, which show more than 700 new cases, show cases in all parts of the province. A significant number of people passed away in the Vancouver Coastal Health and Fraser Health Authority. That this is the time. It's going to be a different Christmas this year. And where there's an option for the protection of the ones you love and the protection of everybody else, this is not the time to gather. When in doubt, rule it out. And I think it's important consideration right now, because this is what we can all do. Every effort, I mean extraordinary efforts, have been made, both financial, but the efforts of healthcare workers and others in our society to help keep us safe. And BC has a lot to be proud of during this pandemic, but this is a crucial moment. And I guess my message to everyone is there are lots of scenarios, but if there's any doubt, err on the side of keeping the ones that you love safe.
Do you have a follow-up, Richard?
Just 2 more scenarios for you. And I know that these are individualistic and you get a lot of emails about this. One that we hear a lot about is a single person. Many that have reached out to me, and I'm sure to you as well, or a widower, and they would like to go to visit their son or daughter and their family. Is that possible, and it doesn't make a difference if they live in the same city or not? And then one we get a lot from kids, and I know it's a very tragic day, and kids are trying to find light in this, but is around Santa Claus. And I know you've spoken about this before. What sort of rules are there around Santa Claus visiting? And I'm sure you've heard from a lot of kids around that as well.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right, Richard. It is important that we find the joy every day, even on tragic days like today. We have the spark of hope of vaccine that's going to protect our grandparents and our elders. So those are coming. And yes, it's very challenging to be on your own during this pandemic because it's very isolating, and we know that. So yes, people need to find what they need to do for themselves. And that means if it's somebody that you are close with, but it's not each of your children, not going to multiple different houses. Pick one. Pick ways of being together that protect, particularly if it's an older person. You know, we need to take those measures to protect our seniors right now so that they will be here when we have Christmas in July. In terms of Santa Claus, though, I have it on very good authority that, you know, he's first in line for vaccine and that he's immune to this virus, and we expect that will be the case by Christmas time, and that he is able to do what he usually does. But I will say a couple of things. He's going to be very, very careful, and he's going to be wearing masks when he's in houses, and he's going to be cleaning his hands a lot, and the reindeer are going to be very careful as well. So no leaving out the cookies and milk this year, and let's just be happy that he can make it around the world.